This man was having a relaxing day at the beach when something unexpected swam right up to his feet. He shouted in shock after feeling something grab his foot underwater. But what he did next left everyone around stunned. Francis was spending the day at Cadborough Bay on southern Vancouver Island, Canada, with some new friends when someone spotted a strange shape moving through the shallows. It didn't look threatening at first, but as the creature swam closer with surprising speed and confidence, a wave of unease washed over them. It had the coloring of a crocodile or alligator, and for a moment it looked like something dangerous was heading straight toward them. Francis, standing right at the water's edge, had the clearest view. One of his friends quickly grabbed her phone to start recording, not knowing she was about to capture something unforgettable. The creature moved with calm grace as it neared the beach, every second pulling it closer into view. Francis watched with a strange mix of nerves and curiosity, not sure what to expect. The closer it got, the more its shape came into focus. It wasn't a crocodile, and it wasn't anything they feared. What they saw was completely different and oddly beautiful. Everyone fell silent, watching the way the creature moved. It glided effortlessly through the water, and something about it drew everyone in. In just a few seconds, Francis recognized what it was, and his heart swelled. It was a sea otter, swimming freely through the bay. Others nearby, just as amazed, called out gently to the otter, hoping it would come closer. Of course, the sea otter didn't respond to their voices, but the moment felt magical anyway. Even though people were tempted to step forward and get a better look, they knew better. Sea otters might look cute, but they're wild and can be aggressive if they feel threatened. So everyone stayed on shore, filming and watching with quiet joy. Francis admired the otter like the rest, but then something happened that made him stop in his tracks. His eyes narrowed. Was he really seeing this? Slowly, as if drawn by instinct, he stepped forward until the cold water brushed against his ankles. Just then, the otter vanished beneath the surface. Francis blinked, confused. Did he scare it away? A little disappointed, he turned to head back to the beach. That's when it happened. Something brushed against his foot, then grabbed it firmly. His whole body stiffened. He spun around and let out a shout as the otter popped back up right in front of him. Its little paws held onto his foot, almost like it was trying to play. All around him, people shouted warnings, urging him to get out of the water before he got bitten. Phones were up, recording. But Francis didn't move. Something told him the otter didn't mean any harm. Deep down, he felt like this little animal had come back just for him. As he stood in the water, still stunned, he turned to his friends and began to explain something none of them expected. This wasn't his first time in Cadborough Bay. A year earlier, he had visited the exact same spot for some rest and quiet. And during that trip, he had a moment he'd never forgotten. While walking along the shore, he spotted a group of sea otters, not in the water, but on land. He'd stayed back, watching them from a distance, as he set up his tent near the beach. That evening, he saw the otters slip back into the sea, their movements smooth and peaceful, disappearing into the waves like they belonged there. But that night, after Francis had fallen asleep in his tent, he was woken up by strange, loud sounds. At first, he assumed it was just birds or other animals in the area. The noise didn't stop. It got louder, more desperate. Francis lay there listening, trying to convince himself it was normal. But something about it felt off. The longer it went on, the harder it became to ignore. Each call sounded like a plea. He thought of the sea otters he had seen just hours earlier, and a part of him couldn't help but wonder. Was one of them in trouble? He knew stepping in could go wrong. Wild animals don't always understand when someone's trying to help, and getting involved might put both him and the creature at risk. But those sounds, they were hard to ignore. Every cry cut right through his hesitation. Finally, Francis grabbed his flashlight, even though the full moon lit up most of the bay. He just wanted to be sure he could see everything clearly. He stepped out of the tent and followed the noise, each footstep confirming what his heart already knew. Something nearby was in trouble. He expected to find a bird or maybe some other animal tangled in debris. But as he walked and scanned the area, he found nothing. The sounds were getting stronger, though. Looking for a better view, he climbed a short tower meant for beach lookouts. The sound hit him again, louder this time, and almost directly beneath him. Francis shone his flashlight around, but still didn't see anything. He paused. Was he just imagining it? But then the noise came again, definitely coming from under the tower. He climbed back down, heart thumping, and that's when he saw it. Right there, in the beam of his flashlight, was a young sea otter wedged beneath the wooden structure. Francis froze. The sight broke his heart. He instantly regretted not coming out sooner. How long had the little otter been stuck there, crying for help? It had probably fallen behind as the others returned to the sea and gotten trapped on the way. The poor thing must have panicked when it realized it couldn't move. Francis didn't waste another second. He stepped carefully around the edge of the structure, getting as close as he could without frightening it. With both hands, he began shifting some of the boards to make space. But the otter was lodged in tightly. It wasn't enough. Francis crouched lower and turned off his flashlight, thinking maybe the darkness would keep the little animal calm. Strangely, the otter didn't react with fear. No hissing, no biting, no signs it wanted to attack. It just stayed still. Francis wondered if it was too tired to move, or if maybe, just maybe, it could sense he was trying to help. Moving slowly, he looked closer at the frame beneath the tower. Part of the structure was nailed shut, and there was no way to free the otter without removing it somehow. He knew better than to grab the otter and try to pull. That could injure it, or make things worse. Then he spotted something. One section of the wood looked slightly loose, like the otter had tried pushing its way out and almost succeeded. Francis leaned in and gently tugged. He wasn't sure if it would come off. But then the otter started moving too, wiggling, pushing right as Francis pulled. It was as if the two of them were working together. With one last effort, the board gave way. The space opened just enough. The otter slipped out, free at last. Francis sat back, breathing hard, overwhelmed by relief. He'd actually done it. The otter didn't run off right away. It paused for a moment, sniffing the cool night air, then turned and waddled toward Francis. Its little nose twitched as it sniffed around him, curious. Not sure if the otter was about to lash out or just wanted to get closer, Francis slowly stood up, keeping a bit of space between them. He gently motioned for the creature to head back to the water. At first the otter hesitated, but then it began gliding toward the bay to rejoin its family. Just before it disappeared beneath the surface, it turned and looked back at Francis one last time in the soft moonlight, then vanished into the waves. Even with everything that had happened, Francis couldn't help but smile as he made his way back to his tent. He felt proud of what he'd done. Saving the little otter would stay with him forever. As the first light of morning crept over the horizon, he knew this wasn't a story he'd keep to himself. It was one he'd carry and tell for years. What he didn't realize at the time, though, was that this wouldn't be the last time he saw that otter. Back in the present moment, as Francis and his friends watched the sea otter play in the bay, a thought gripped him. Could this be the same one? The way it moved, the way it looked at him, it was hard not to wonder. Could it remember him? Was that why it was acting so playful? The idea felt crazy, but something about it pulled at him. Still, he reminded himself, this was a wild animal. He needed to be cautious. But as the otter swam closer and closer to shore, it really did seem like it was trying to get his attention. People nearby were laughing and filming, enjoying the magical moment. But no one expected what came next. Francis stepped a little farther into the shallow water, and suddenly the chatter around him quieted. Everyone was watching. What happened in that quiet moment felt almost unreal. Instead of swimming off, the otter came even closer, circling Francis's legs, sniffing his pants, brushing against him with its smooth body. It didn't seem scared at all. If anything, it looked curious, almost happy. It swam gently around him, trusting him in a way wild animals rarely do. Overwhelmed by the closeness, Francis crouched down and slowly reached out. He gently ran his hand along the otter's back as it circled him. The otter didn't flinch. It sniffed his hand, maybe expecting food, or maybe just drawn in by the moment like he was. There was no fear now, only trust. It was quiet, surreal, and beautiful. After a few minutes, the otter swam a little further out. Francis thought that was the end of it. But then, to everyone's surprise, it came back. Just for a moment, it snuggled up close again, as if to say goodbye. Then, with one smooth dive, it slipped beneath the water and vanished into the deeper bay. As the waves rippled behind it, Francis stood there, stunned. Something in his gut told him it was the same otter he'd once rescued. Maybe it was wishful thinking, but the feeling wouldn't go away. He turned back to shore, where his friends were still in awe, their faces lit up with wonder. That brief encounter had touched all of them. Francis would never forget it. It was the kind of moment that changes how you see the world. A wild animal had trusted him, reached out to him, and it reminded him just how powerful these connections with nature can be. But what he didn't expect was what would happen next. Within days, videos of the encounter started making their rounds online, and they exploded. The world couldn't get enough. Francis was now known everywhere as the Otter Guy. His story spread across social media, and soon people were inviting him onto shows and podcasts to talk about what had happened. Everyone wanted to know the same thing. Why did he walk into the water that day? Wasn't he scared? Francis explained it as honestly as he could. Young sea otters are often playful when they feel safe. He hadn't chased it. It had come to him. He just responded with kindness, and the otter responded the same way. His story didn't just bring attention to himself. It brought a wave of love and support for sea otters everywhere. People became more aware of the need to protect them, and donations to otter rescue groups and habitat programs started pouring in, all from one special moment caught on camera. What an incredible emotional encounter between a man and a wild sea otter. Have you ever had a moment like this with a wild animal? Share your story in the comments, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more heartwarming adventures with nature.
If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone who may find it interesting. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.